We will get to our interviewee here in a second, attorney Javier de Janon, in 1 second. But we do want to play this video of this altercation, this event, this incident that happened with CBP. And this is the brunt of what we're going to be speaking on over the next couple of minutes. And in fact, I'll just kind of read this statement from Mr. Janon here. It says, on early morning of Sunday, 11/16, CBP officers aggressively confronted their client, Miss Heather Morrow. She was standing in solidarity with immigrants at the local Charlotte, North Carolina DHS office. Now, community members around her immediately started recording, given the documented excesses of CBP and ICE agents when they interact with the public. To no surprise to the community, an officer very quickly and violently arrested Miss Morrow, who had become concerned when another person was suddenly arrested in front of her. Yesterday, 11/19, the U.S. unsealed a federal criminal complaint, an affidavit against Ms. Morrow, accusing her of feloniously assaulting a federal officer. The Department of Justice quickly sent a press release to the media with the accusations. This case contains misinformation provided by CBP officers, they state. This is not new. DHS agents across the country have been found fabricating evidence in similar situations. We firmly contest the allegations against Ms. Morrow. We're going to play the altercation now in full.
Stop it, please do not.
Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Stop. Don't stop. Hey.
What the fuck? Why would you be like that? Dude, it's our government. Name and badge number now. Name and badge number.
Hey, let him go. Let him go. Let him go. Stop it. Hey. Hey.
Stop it! Get off of him! Get off of him! Quit! Quit it! Get him off me!
Hey. Let him go.
Well, we have Mr. Javier de Janon here with us. Javier, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Will you explain kind of what you see in this video? There's a lot of things happening, and I didn't necessarily see in this clip anybody putting their hands on or kind of getting in the way of, but can you kind of explain what you see from your client in the video there?
Yes, so happy to be here. Javier de Janon, Charlotte-based criminal defense attorney. I guess I want to start about what they're accusing Ms. Morrow of doing. And by they, I mean the federal government. So the Department of Justice very quickly released a press release, essentially, to the media, where they allege that Ms. Morrow grabbed the shoulders of CBP officers, jumped on their back, and all these other accusations, which they claim are the grounds for a felony assault on a federal law enforcement officer. We just saw the video, and that is far from what actually happened on Sunday at the DHS office. That, for us, is where this is very alarming, that the federal government, based on a report by CBP agents, pressed these felony charges against Ms. Morrow, kept her in jail overnight, and essentially altered her whole week, and hopefully not her whole life, when the video that people started recording immediately disproves the allegations. For me, videos speak for themselves, but it's clear that Ms. Morrow did not put her hands on the agent's shoulders, did not even leave the ground, and it was a matter of milliseconds before CBP agents tackled her very, very quickly. So we are concerned that even the federal government would go to the lengths of letting all media know based on false allegations.
It seems really hard to understand where the line is when you're in these type of situations, right? Whether it be the person who's being arrested or the person capturing this type of video. We've seen in two instances, even on our air, two American citizens who proved that they were American citizens have their vehicle windows smashed. We've seen people arrested just for even videotaping an incident like that. How can people go about, because I'll call out the governor saying earlier today that folks should be recording these incidents when they're seeing wrongdoing. So what should people know about this in terms of how to keep themselves safe and others in our community? Because, again, as the governor stated earlier yesterday, it doesn't seem like just criminals are being swept up in this operation. It seems like regular individuals, employees of businesses, just normal individuals that are trying to go to work, trying to go to school, are seemingly being detained, even if they are American citizens. So, what would you advise folks in this type of environment? We've got a lot of fear circulating, of course, and I think there's a reason why this is being done. But can you kind of expound on that?
For me, as a defense attorney who specializes in political cases, it's clear to me that what the federal government's goal is to create fear, right? Masked, militarized agents snatching people from the streets, from your car, from your place of work, from your home, is meant to instill fear. It's meant to instill fear in our communities, in our clients, in our public. And for me, the best antidote against this federal fear, the government's fear, is continuing to assemble, continuing to speak out. And since we know how CBP agents are behaving, I think it's good advice to continue recording. People have a First Amendment right to document law enforcement in this country. And to be documenting and recording, just as we saw in the video, could be the difference between a CBP officer making fabricated charges and a prosecution and the truth coming out. I also believe that it's not accidental that the agents are responding so aggressively when they're being filmed. I think a lot of legal cases and legal systems take time to develop and to resolve, but I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of years from now, this country looks back to this moment with shame, with embarrassment, and with repercussions to all these CBP agents that are snatching people and that are preventing people from having First Amendment rights. I mean, it is pretty serious. I think if I were to give my advice, I think it's be careful, right? Be aware of your rights, be aware of where you're standing, of your situation, and have your networks together and in touch with you. Because if these CBP agents decide to target you next, you support system when you're out there documenting.
Oh, well, we had a citizen responder, or I should say watcher, even for lack of a better term, earlier on today, who witnessed her own type of altercation with CBP, just commenting about how fearful it is in these moments, even if you are on the other side of this, kind of watching this. And she had said that the 17 or 18-year-old individual, the woman that they took into custody, they had no idea where they were taking her. She had no idea where she was going. Can I ask, do you know where Miss Morrow is? It looks like from the statement that you sent us, she's still missing personal property and actually was in the Gaston County Jail at one point. Can you kind of clear some of this up?
Yes, the way people are being processed is also alarming. So what has been happening since Sunday, actually since Miss Morrow's arrest, is that if you happen to be a person with status, essentially U.S. citizen, legal permanent resident, or can prove your status otherwise, then these CBP agents send you to FBI offices. So on Sunday, Miss Morrow, after she was tackled, she was taken to the FBI. No record of where she was taken, no record in the system. I only found out she was at the FBI because I tried to find her where she was arrested, and CBP agents told me, no, she's at the FBI. At the FBI, she was handcuffed and held basically the entire day until she was transferred to Gaston County Jail, which has an agreement for federal detainees, people who are facing federal charges. And then she was held there overnight. And the next morning, she was released on an unsecured bond, which means essentially a bond that you don't have to pay. So her whole day was changed. And then, as I mentioned in our statement, her personal cell phone is still being taken from her. Tomorrow, it will finally be returned by the FBI. We don't understand why they kept her cell phone. You saw the video. The phone had nothing to do with what happened or what she was accused of. And then her car key is still missing, which now the FBI is fortunately helping us try to find. Um, since Sunday, as I mentioned, though, multiple people have been taken to the FBI offices, disappeared for a few hours, and then either come out or get federal charges. What's also very concerning for me as an attorney is that after Sunday, attorneys are no longer allowed to visit their clients when they're at that FBI building. So it seems it gets from worse to worse.
A lot of a lot of hoops to jump through, whether it's the attorney themselves or the client that they're trying to represent. Javier, can I ask, in this day and age, right, for folks that are out there, and again, I got to bring this up because not everyone feels the same way, right, in terms of these immigration operations, right? Some people feel safe from what they've seen. So I do have to ask, right, if somebody sees something, or they're involved in something, whether they're being followed by an unmarked car, whether they are stopped. This woman, like I said earlier today, was even asked when she was videoing, is she American citizen? What would you advise folks on their rights, right? I did speak to another immigration attorney earlier this week that, three big things were to know your rights, right, to keep on your person a number of ID sources and options in case you get asked, right? And to have a safety plan, to let family and friends know where you're going, where you're at, turn the location on. What else would you maybe add to those things and to try and help folks who maybe even are detained? Because in that moment, we've seen videos where folks, they are so scared to even speak. They can't even give their name. I can't imagine that. So, can you just, relay some information on how you advise folks to move forward?
Yeah, I mean, as a criminal defense attorney, my best clients, best cases are those who assert their rights, right? Who say, I do not consent to a search assertively, right? I want to speak to my lawyer, right? Who ask very quickly, very clearly, calmly, am I free to go? Am I under arrest? The answer is yes, you get out of there. If the answer is no, all right, I'm going to remain silent. I want my lawyer. I think what is so terrifying and telling about this moment in this country is that we have to remind people minding their business that there might be masked agents coming to snatch them from their vehicle, right? Like, let's really assess where we're at, how we got here, and how we can get out of here. Because I do want my community, my clients who hopefully don't become my clients, right, to be safe, to be well, to be out of harm's way, and to even have to say, always have your emergency contacts knowing you could be arrested for documenting law enforcement. I mean, that is pretty concerning to me, and I think it should be for the public. And I, like I said before, the best antidote against these excesses, the way the government is evolving, is continuing to organize and rally and support the people, especially the immigrants who are being disappeared.
Yeah, a lot is going on. And then obviously, I'm sure you saw the announcement today that ongoing operations will not be stopping anytime soon. So I guess we're in this prolonged period. Again, we'll continue to bring people the latest on the enforcement. I did want to ask, Javier, is there anything else that I didn't ask you that maybe you wanted to elaborate on or talk about, anything important that still needs to be discussed?
I think because of what happened to Miss Morrow, right? The federal government, the Department of Justice, sent a letter on their letterhead with the signature of the Attorney General's office that this is what happened, right? That this is what Miss Morrow did. This is what she's being accused of. And then there's video immediately contradicting that. We should really, really be wary of believing the federal accusations and the narrative that the government is spinning. Because if the Department of Justice is restating fabrications by their agents, then I believe that we should really be skeptical of other statements, other false truths, and so on. So yeah, unfortunately, it's even more important to be aware and check your sources. And just with what happened with Miss Morrow, a DOJ statement to the media might no longer be a reliable source.
Well, and it could be an avalanche of mistruths as well at that point. So tough to break through the subterfuge at that point in time. Mr. Javier de Hanon, we certainly appreciate your time tonight. Please update us on your client's status, if you would, so we can continue to let the public know, and obviously to keep everyone, just abreast of the situation. So again, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for covering this.
No problem. All right, folks, we're going to take a 2-minute break.